Welcome to Walking Wilder. Welcome back if you've been here before, and welcome in if you're new. This reading is a healing your inner child reading. Yeah, apparently. um, and obviously, since it's an inner child reading about healing your inner child, there's some sort of um, issue, which we all have. There's all things that from our childhood that needs to be looked at. Even the ones with really happy childhoods have encountered things that has somehow shaped them, whether that's negative or positive, or in a lot of instances it's kind of both ways, because it's made you who you are. The first card I drew was this. Oh, these are so glossy. Cocoon. This feeling of, having withdrawn part of you um, from from the real world. I hear that's kind of an odd thing, but it's like there's a part of you that you have withdrawn from the rest of the world, um, and the message on it here is consider your source. My feeling with this is that whatever has made you do this is really not something that's stemming from you, but it's like an outside source, someone who said something, someone who taught you that certain parts of you were not valuable, were not, meant to be seen or heard, or, were wrong in some way. The next card has to do with identity, and the key line on it is make your own choices. So this message is here to tell you that it's time that you look at this part of you or these parts of you, and decide for yourself who you actually are. Decide for yourself who is important, what is important, which parts of you are important, and why they are important. Um, Choices, your decisions will be correct. So this is spirit telling you, all right, whatever it is that you are, making choices about here, you have the tools that you need to see through this, to feel what it is that is going on here. Um, this card, portals, came up. Um, Open, closed. Right now we are in an eclipse season when I'm doing this reading, and the energy I'm getting with this is that here's an opportunity for you to really close something karmic, close something off that has haunted you, I hear, your entire life. Um, Now, this does not have to be, really, really horrible, but it has been something that somehow has shaped you, uh, that you have taken with you from your childhood, something that's familiar, um, or something to do with, is something to do with what you think is, how you think things should be, a familiar pattern, a familiar way of doing things. This is how we've always done it. This is how, um, this is how it is. But see, there's something uncomfortable with this, something unseen with this card underneath here. Um, that is just not right. Not necessarily the whole story, the whole way of doing this, but it's like there's an aspect of whatever this is for you that is just not healthy. Um, so let's take a look at this and see what this is. Spirit, how is the inner child of the seer feeling currently? See what this, how is the inner child of the seer feeling currently? The sun at the bottom here, which of course is a nice energy. To me, this looks like you're protecting like something precious, something that is like at the very core of who you are, uh, is, but it's when you're protecting something, of course that's good, but it also feels really constraining, like there's really not, whatever this is, this light within you, there's not a lot of space for it. It's there, you're taking good care of it, you're making sure no one hurts it, but it's like you're not there's not really a space for it to, blossom, to open up, to spread out into the world. Here's the Wheel of Fortune. Some of you are having this feeling of needing to be everything for a lot of other people, but not, having the time to look at the thing that is really important for yourself. It's like there's so much busyness here. This is the Wheel of Fortune, things turning, things moving, things, being very overwhelming is the sense I'm getting with this. So if this resonates with you, there's a part of you that feels like there's just not enough hours in the day, there's just not enough energy, there's not enough um, love, I hear, meaning that you feel like you're kind of neglecting a part of yourself because you're taking care of everybody else's needs. um, yeah, what I lacked as a child, Spirit, what I lacked as a child, and I is of course you, the seer, and perhaps me. Oftentimes it's, the things that comes up in these readings are also for the one who reads. Not always, but sometimes. King of Cups. Tell me about the King of Cups. The Chariot here. My first feeling with this is that this is like stable love. Love you can depend on. Love that's, that loves you regardless of what else is going on. Love that is unconditional. Um, yeah, Five of Swords. So this is, the this is kind of like love being dependent on, are you saying the right things, doing the right things? How is the atmosphere? How is the, that type of thing. Yeah, Seven of Pentacles here. It's like, sure, we'll, we'll give you what you need if, you know, the circumstances are right. You're doing what you're supposed to doing, being a good girl, that type of thing. See how sticky this is? It does not look really, yeah, there's the flower, which is nice, of course, but underneath that, it's like, if this represents the love, then underneath that, it's like, here are all the conditions for when you're okay, when you're valuable enough to love, when you are, whatever your story is, but it's something along those lines. So love was conditioned upon you being a certain way, uh, behaving a certain way, that type of thing. Knight of Pentacles. See how the mother bear and the cup here are, it's kind of like there's something in between them. Now this does not necessarily have to be, the mother, but some parental figure, or some important figure um, in your life was kind of not fully there. Um, there's this feeling of, again, the pentacle being, the security, the normalcy, that feeling of everything being stable, but it's like there's this energy in between that is not really fitting in. Um, so there's a disconnect here between these two energies. Whether it's, the mother energy, the father energy, primary caregiver of some sort, some important person. So there has been a disconnect in your childhood here, which obviously have affected, parts of you that are kind of like shaping your identity. And the time has come for you to take a look at how much of this is actually who I am, and how much of this is what someone told me I had to be. Or maybe not told you, but kind of showed you through actions, or, you know, this, if you're like this, you'll be loved. If you're like this, you'll be accepted. If you're like this, you'll be blah, 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 whatever it is for you. But if you're not, then, I'm going to put my attention elsewhere, and you'll be over here, the bear cup, kind of left to yourself. Not necessarily totally neglected, but you're not getting your emotional needs met. You're not being loved unconditionally, because there's this other energy that is kind of taking up space in between you and whoever, your primary um, person was. Spirit, something that left the seer's inner child scared or insecure, something that really affected the inner child here. Temperance. Oh, yeah. Okay. Temperance and the Tower card. Let's see, can you see them there? Can we focus? Yep, there we are. There has been a sense of a lack of balance. Again, meaning that some days were good days, some days were not so good days, but the inconsistency of it all has been the challenge here. That you didn't know, what was coming your way. You didn't know how the adults around you were going to behave. You didn't know how. For some of you, you might not have really, the insecurity has been that what was okay one day was not okay the next day. There's just been I'm seeing kind of like, a pattern of just never knowing what was up and down. So kind of having, that feeling of you enter a room and you have to kind of scan it to see what the heck is going on right now. That was like a regular thing. And just as when there was peace, out of the blue, something could happen that just disrupted that. Someone said someone said something, someone did something, and maybe it was you, not really knowing what the heck you did wrong, but it had an immediate reaction that was way bigger than what was called for in the situation. So, the sense of security wasn't there. So life became kind of one of these having to tiptoe around issues, having to tiptoe around the room, because you didn't really know what was going to trigger the next tower moment, the next eruption, somebody yelling, someone leaving, someone withholding love in some way, some sort of, for some of you, maybe physical abuse, whatever it was for you, it was not pleasant, and it was certainly not love. It was certainly not, the unconditional love that your inner child was needing at the time. How that is affecting the seer's life now, Spirit. The Emperor. Talk to me about that. Maiden of Cups, the Emperor, and the Two of Swords. Yeah, there's something you're blocking here, which obviously, is a natural reaction often. To me, it looks like this Emperor is sitting here. He is being like, I'm self-sufficient. I don't need anyone. I don't need anything. I got this under control. And here's the Page of Cups, and see how she's sort of peeking out here. It's like, yeah, but there's still, it would be nice to connect emotionally with someone else and feel safe in doing so. Because this, as powerful as it is to be in this Emperor energy, you embody all the four kings and all of that good stuff. But she's also, this is your inner child sitting here going like, that might very well be, and maybe you're doing really well for yourself. Some of you have created wonderful lives with, from the outside, it looks picture perfect. But it's like there's something missing on the inside because this part of you has not been seen, has not really, she doesn't feel safe to even look at everything around her. You see, she has a cup there, but there's also like the shadow there. It's like there's some darkness here too that is not really being expressed. And see how dark it is around him. So yeah, he's sitting there. He has everything he needs, but he also has all of this shadow that's not really being looked at. And what you don't see, you can't heal. Something I can do to heal my inner child. Five of Cups at the bottom here. That's, pain and this sadness that, this feeling of something missing, of not really connecting with this unconditional love. Just, there's, yeah, a lack. Justice. Nine of Cups. Yeah. Um, see how she's balancing there. This is talking about how the importance of you giving yourself whatever it is you didn't get as a child. And that, can sound a little weird, but this working on changing the mindset that told you that you're not good enough, that you are not, that you have to perform, you have to maybe, make a certain amount of money, you have to have the fine house, the nice cars, the blah, 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 whatever it is for you, in order to be okay, in order to be good enough, in order to, be everything. And this is talking about, no, that's not yeah, it's nice, if that's what you're wanting to create in the world. But justice, spiritual justice, doesn't have anything to do with all this material possession. It has to do with the love that you have for yourself and that you share with the world and others share with you. Um, this has to do with you knowing your worth, knowing that you're okay, knowing that it is okay, um, for you to be, regardless of all of this stuff, whether you have that or not. Someone might have told you, well, you have to live in a certain way in order to have succeeded. You have to, have certain things in order to be okay, in order to be successful, in order to. And Spirit is like, no, that's not what it's about. It's about the love. It's about the connection with yourself, with, your higher self, with the universe, with other people, the kindness that you share in the world, the kindness that you show yourself and others. It doesn't have anything to do with the rest. Fine if you want, nothing wrong with creating this life, but that's just not the important thing. The important thing is the kindness that you show yourself and others. So there's something that needs to perhaps come to light here, come out. That part of you that's in the cocoon needs to be able to spread its wing, to become the butterfly, to become the more loving part of yourself. And it's not that I'm saying you're not a loving person now, but it's like there's a part of you that needs to be accepted. That part that is more focused on love than on all of these things. Something you're not seeing about this issue. Five of Wands, Four of Pentacles, and the Chariot. This, I feel, has to do with your inner conflict, your own, your view of the way you are and when you're good enough. is out of alignment. And of course that, this is because you've been told things that just don't feel true to you. You know what this is. When I'm sitting here, there's a part of you that knows exactly what this has done to you. That knows that you are out of alignment, that there are other things, um, you know, that these resources, yeah, you need to have resources, but they are not the primary purpose of you being here. And here's the Chariot, which, see how they're on this spiritual path, moving forward, moving along. For some of you, you're wanting to do something different with your life, but it's like you've been holding back here because it just feels so far away from the story of your childhood, so far away from what you come from, so filled with conflict, well, yeah, conflicting ideas about how life is supposed to look and what is important. Um, Talk to me about that a little more, about this issue that the viewer is not seeing. Here's the Ten of Swords and the Two of Cups. It's time to make more loving decisions. More decisions that are more based in who you actually are. Because not doing so, see, this is interesting. On this Ten of Swords, you see here, and here's the card with things that are familiar. Same thing. This is not allowing yourself to be who you truly are. Here with the Two of Cups, on a core, or at your core, at your inside the cocoon thing here, is really, really painful. And it's going to, or it is actually slowing, slow, I can't speak, slowly destroying parts of you. Your it's kind of like it's tapping some life force out of you. Not literally, this is a metaphor, but it's like it's draining you in ways you may not even have seen. It's causing you stress. It's causing you a disconnect from what is really important. And you're staying in patterns because they are familiar. Not because they feel good, but because this is how it's always been. So it's kind of like there's a part of you here that needs to begin to make more loving, healthy choices that are kind of like centered around who are you, your identity, looking at yourself in the mirror and going like, who am I actually? Does this resonate with who I am at my core level? Is this how I want to spend my days? Is this how I want to live my life? Are these people the ones that I want to give my time and energy to? And I'm not saying, that you need to end all your relationships and all of that, but some of them might not really be aligned with who you want to be. And it's okay to stop and kind of go, okay, I got choices here, you know? Maybe it's time to choose different things, choose different paths, see myself from a new point of view, and see the things that have kind of been hidden all this time. How can I best support my inner child going forward? This is actually a big message because this is really painful. Look, this is not just, but it's also tens are endings. So here is the portal. This eclipse season is literally bringing you this opportunity to see something about yourself that has, just been lying there, hidden away, but it's actually a very important part of who you are. Yeah, judgment here at the bottom, karma. It's like that's missing. There's a part of you that has not fully come to life, fully been seen. What is this? Tell me about this. What part of the seer is it that, or the viewer, the seer, I don't know. Yeah, kindness again, It's like, deep down that part of who you are at a very core level is kindness. The capability to look at others with empathy, with love, with just kindness. This deep, deep feeling of we are all one, we are connected, we are, and I know that's a hard thing, the way the world is, but living beings deserve kindness regardless of who they are. And this is a part of you that has not see how my voice is, you have not been able to express this because you have been told a story about other people that you intuitively know is not true. Maybe it's certain groups of people, in your local environment. Maybe it's just, an overall view. There's been some way of looking at the world that you're just like, nope, that's just not, sleepless here. That has kind of left you. And I'm not saying that you're sleepless, but it's you just know it's not right. It just does not feel right. Sacred union coming back. Hidden desires. This, I feel, has to do with you getting back to sacred union with yourself and your soul, your higher self, your, that inner knowing that you really are kindness. That all, the stories, all the bickering, all the conflict. Oh, I'm losing the microphone here. All of that is not really who you are. So it's kind of like this hidden desire. There's a part of you that really, really wants to get back to this core of kindness. Why is that so difficult, Spirit? Step onto the stage. For some of you, there might be something that you need to do out in the world that would have been unthinkable years ago, is what I'm hearing. I don't know what that is for all of you, and it might not be for everyone. Uncover. Imprisonment. Yeah, there's a part of you that feels like you have been, not literally imprisoned. Well, but, metaphorically, you feel like you have been holding back part of you. Maybe it's about speaking up for others that are not as fortunate as you are. If you are this emperor, that's manifested the good life. Or maybe it's about sharing your resources with others. But it's definitely about coming back to this part of you that knows that kindness is what really matters. Tell me more about how can I best support my inner child going forward, Spirit. Knight of Wands. Tell me more about the Knight of Wands here. Queen of Cups. Yeah, it's, this inner process of shedding your skin, of becoming something more, something deeper, something bigger. Ten of Cups. Yeah, more love, more kindness, more transformation, more of, the good stuff. Six of Swords. See here, more of the connection to the universe, turning your back to the conflict, to the disconnect, to the, the familiar things that might, they were familiar, but they were also extremely painful because it was like something was lacking, this connection to kindness. pure kindness. I don't know why, but it's like that word keeps coming up. Now, kindness and love might not be the same thing per se, but kindness is always based in love. This and you can love people and animals and places and energies that you don't really necessarily connect with. Um, there's an element of universal love here too, of this stepping away from all the conflicts, all the disagreements, all the, well, but that type of people is like that, and we should this and that and da 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 da. This lack mentality of wanting to protect, your resources. See how he's sitting here holding on to everything he's created, like, and Spirit is like, yeah, that's nice, but the Ten of Cups is what it's all about. That's where the connecting to soul is. That's where the connecting to spirit is. It doesn't matter. Basically, I'm hearing we don't give a shit about all of this. Literally, what comes into my head sometimes. But that's the message. This is what matters: love and connection to spirit. Tell me more here. Yeah, judgment and the hanged man. It's time to see things for what they are and get a new perspective on this. So for some of you, this might, mean changing an old mindset that has kept you stuck with way too much focus on creating things in the physical world. And again, not that there's anything wrong with that, but if it feels out of alignment for you, then it's because there's something missing, something that you just that you need to get back to because it's a sacred part of who you are. Messages from your inner child here. Let's see. Yeah, exactly. See? I'm a spirit having a human experience and I'm here to get closer to love. That's basically what this message is. It's like maybe you were taught, that it's really important you do well in school, and I'm not saying it's not. I'm all for school. I'm used to be a teacher. But all that stuff that we do in our everyday lives, if that's all we do, then life is kind of empty. If you can't smile at a stranger, if you can't help someone because they're there and they need help and you're there and you're capable of helping them with whatever it is, if you know, if you're so busy with your everyday life that you don't see those small opportunities to connect, to be kind, to show someone else that they matter, then it doesn't really matter. Then you can be the richest person in the world and it's like, yeah, well, spirit is like, we don't give a shit. Um, the moment I realign with love, clear direction is presented to me. So for some of you, this is a necessary step, and you might have been wavering, I see, back and forth about there's something that needs to change in my life. I need to create a new path forward for myself, but it's like I can't really connect to what that is, or where there's just something missing. Um, and that's because you need to reconnect with this part of yourself because it's going to show you the way forward. My energy creates my reality. What I focus on is what I'll manifest. So yeah, but you need to be, you know, you need to connect with something really deep because otherwise it's all going to be surface stuff. And again, we need surface stuff. We need a place to live. We need all of that. But there's something more, something deeper for you here to see and to heal within yourself and to understand that your value really, really, really is not dependent on, this at all. It's something completely different. And it's calling you now because it's time to do something new with your life. My capacity to turn into the energy of love gives me the words I need when I'm ready to speak up, the compassion I need when it's time to forgive, and the power I need when I'm lost. exactly. So that's the message. Your inner child is like, we need to find our kindness again and connect with the world from a different place. And I'm not saying you're not a kind person, but your focus needs to shift, you know? Because there's a part of it that actually has a great gift for you, you know, that gives you the capability of seeing yourself from a different point of view and seeing all the awesomeness that's you too. And some of you, I think, have forgotten how awesome you actually are. So, any which way, if this resonates with you, please like the video, maybe write a comment, subscribe to the channel. That would be awesome. And thank you so much for watching this. I really do appreciate you. Big love.